Alrighty.
Gotta just get the event so I can see the comments. Where do I go for that again? I forget. Here. Here, yes.
Oh.
Hey, hello everybody. Here we go.
You ready?
I am ready. Let's go.
Awesome. Well, we are here again on a Thursday. We've been working through Mark's sales behavior and prospecting training the last 3 weeks, so this is week 4.
Is this thing on? Check, check, check. 1, 2, check, check.
Going through each stage of the process. So today we're at, well, let's summarize a bit.
Okay, let's summarize a bit.
Yeah. So we've talked about how to get your prospects to actually pick up the phone or email you back.
Yes, that was week 1, connecting and researching. Well, researching first, allowing you to connect.
Then we talked about the value equation and how to propose your value back to the prospect.
Correct. So that was defining the needs, clarifying needs.
Clarifying the needs of the prospect.
Determining the needs of the prospect.
Value.
Correct.
And then we talked about paraphrasing and boomerang facts and how to actually...
We're going to talk boomerang facts again today.
Get to the stage where you can put a proposal together for someone.
We did.
And then now today we're talking about, okay, so we've got the proposal in front of them. We've been able to have a meeting to discuss it. How do we actually acquire the client, i.e.
closing time.
The deal. Today's the day.
Time.
We don't need
One more
Mark's
cup of alcohol, so finish your whiskey or beer. Okay.
It's closing time.
It's closing
So today we're going to talk about how do you actually close that deal. That's the part everyone wants to know about.
Head up for the... Sorry, I love that tune.
That's what everyone wants to know when you go into a sales training, I would think. How do we close the deal? So you can't give away all your secrets, but...
Let's give away most of them.
Give away most of them today.
We always do that. No, I mean, you to get the full value of this training, you got to go through the exercises. So I don't feel too bad giving away the content because you need the application to get most of it. But this will get you started if you're listening to these free sessions. So, yes, you mentioned the 3 steps. And here's what I'd like to add before we go into the 4th step. And the last step we'll talk about next week is overcoming objections, because they can happen anywhere in the process. So I train that as a separate skill for you to take away as your Band-Aid when you get stuck in a sales presentation. Because they could show up on the phone the first time, they could show up when you're doing the proposal, they could show up when you're asking for the money. Objections show up all the time, so I teach those separately. But the first 3 steps, if you combine it all together, what we've really done through the art of inquiry versus advocacy is we've really found out what the customer needs. We've done a good job finding out what's important to them, finding out their value equation. Now comes our time to really start to advocate. This is when we're putting the proposal on the table. This is saying what we're going to deliver for the price. This is really taking all that inquiry that we kept the client engaged through the process and through paraphrasing demonstrated that we heard them, and we gave them thought, we gave them answers around how we could deliver on that to get them to want to see the proposal. Now we're putting it all together. Call it your summary of all these great conversations that you've had and all this inquiry to now start to advocate. And the reason you want to do it now is it's easy to put it all together because you've been asking questions and you've been gaining trust. And now you know what you can provide is going to help them. Because if not, you wouldn't have got to this step. If you inquired and they said, oh, everything's about the lowest prices of the law and we only want, I keep using the logistics companies in this, but I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to be a trucker when I was younger. Anyways,
if the computer company.
Yeah, so if the biggest thing is price and your laptops for organizations need to be $300 or we're not dealing with you, and you know you're losing money and all you can do is $500 and you've determined that through all these questions, you're not even getting to proposal time. But now in this 4th step is you've been good at inquiring and advocating the little pieces to say, yeah, we can help with that and here's how. And now it's summary time. Now, baby, we're putting the proposal together, and whether this is B2B and it's in a contract and we have to take people through it, or you're in retail and it's B2C and it's time to take the customer to the cash, the same things apply. Okay?
Sounds good.
You want me to take through step by step? I guess that's what we do next, right?
Sure.
Okay. So The first thing is you heard me talk a lot in the first 3 sections about the value equation, quality and service and price. This is where you want to list out from all of your notes everything that you inquired about from the customer of how they saw quality and service. Not price yet, but what was important to them from quality and service. All those questions. And what you want to do is list out how you can demonstrate on how you will solve those in this proposal. So that may look like, what was the example we just used? Man, I'm getting old.
Computers.
Computers. So, it may be that you need 72 of the latest, greatest laptops. You need them delivered within 30 days. You also need a warranty program that will make sure that if any of these things go wrong, you can get a quick replacement within 48 hours. And you need to know that they're warranted for at least a year. All those things are things you ask that are quality and service related in the sales conversation. Now I'm going to talk about proposing the 72 laptops in that context. And I'm going to paraphrase. Hey, one of the things that you told me was quality was really important in your purchase. So before I show you the price, I want to demonstrate how we're going to deliver on this. One of the things you said was you wanted to make sure if there was any problems, you got a replacement laptop within a couple days. Let me tell you about our 24-hour replacement service. Boom. And now I've matched that quality piece. Hey, and then you wanted a sense of mind, even though you're buying a refurbished laptop through our organization, you wanted to make sure that it lasted at least a year. Well, good news for you, we have an 18-month warranty program. And here's how it works. And so now I'm aligning all of the quality and service things that we do as an organization to what you told me you need when I was inquiring.
You put that all in your actual proposal? Or
The service will be in the proposal, but I'm discussing it as I'm presenting the proposal. I'm not going to put the proposal in front of the client and say it's 72 laptops, they're $392. And I'm glad you asked that. They're $392 and here's the invoice. That's how you lose sales. Because you haven't demonstrated in your proposal that you asked for this. Here's how I'm delivering it. You asked for this. Here's how I'm delivering it. Because guess what's going to happen if you just put the 72 laptops in front of them and the price at $392 and there is a price objection, you got to go all the way back to determine why it's worth $392. If you want to avoid the price objection, talk to the quality and service as you present the proposal. So all you're doing is you're matching the two things. So set up a column of what the customers talk to you about in their dialogue, about quality and service and what's important to them, and set up a column about how you deliver on that. If you can add, so here's the, I want to say trick, but it's not a trick because it's being fully transparent. What's going to happen with you if you're in a B2B world or a B2C world is the customer in the B2C world might have buyer's remorse, right? So they just, oh my God, I just spent $700 on that jacket as an example. And so what you want to do is as you're positioning your quality and service in that jacket and the warranty program and the leather spray or whatever that looks like, you want to start to get ahead of that by adding value of what those things are. Mm-hmm. So now I don't have buyer's remorse, but in the B2B world, right, where you're spending most of your time, probably the people that are listening to this, you want to remember to add your boomerang fact when you talk about how you deliver that quality of service, and you want a value add. Now, a value add means everybody else may do it, but I want to express why this is important to the client. Why? Because this is your retention opportunity as you close a sale. So, hey, by the way, Jody, you wanted those laptops. Just to remind you, as far as the warranty goes, for refurbished laptops, that 18-month warranty is the best on the market.
Right.
So not only am I positioning that I have an 18-month warranty, the value is that it's the best on the market and you can't get someone else.
You're not going to find it elsewhere.
Because guess what's going to happen? I've just taught people in these seminars that all these things about how to connect with someone and close. You not think someone might be calling the next day trying to steal your business? Mm-hmm. There's other people doing what we do. And so what you need to do is you need to start protecting that business before it can be lost. And your best way to do that as you close it is add a value add statement and a boomerang fact that when someone comes along with a lower price, that they inevitably will, because price is part of the value equation, the customer's going to say, okay, but do you do this for that price? Well, you know what? I can get you those laptops for $372. That's great. I got a current provider. Boy, you're $15, $17 cheaper. What's your warranty? Because my understanding is the guys I use now have an 18-month warranty. Yeah, ours is 12. And the plant is there to protect that business because you've talked about it as you've done the proposal. Here's the beauty of that. It's a double-edged sword for you. It protects the retention, but it also validates the close because you're adding value to everything you're putting in that proposal based on what the customer asked for. So if you go back, and I say this to people who are thinking about taking my training, once you put all these things together, there's no gaps. If you've closed an account, you've solved all their needs, they understand that, you've paraphrased it, they're going to stay with you. And here's the beauty is, if you got a list of 1,000 people on a prospect list, as you go through this process, you've got all these exit ramps to not waste your time with that prospect. Example, connecting and researching in step 1. If you do that before you pick up the phone, and you're selling logistics services, and you call a business that has 2 employees and no trucks on the road, and somehow got into your prospect list, that's off the exit ramp. And every step you go through as a sales professional, you can spend more time on people who have the possibility to close because you help them and you understand them. And the further you get down this process, like when you get to step 4, closing should be easy. And I'm still going to teach overcoming objections next week. But closing should be easy in step 4 because we've pre-qualified the client all the way through these 3 steps. And you're not asking for this slimy, would you buy my stuff? You're saying, I've got your solution. Here's what you've asked for. Here's how we demonstrate it. Here's what it's going to cost.
They're expecting that from you too, right? Like they've engaged in this conversation with you for this long, and that's what they're expecting back from you.
Right, and you've been consistent with your behavior from that first conversation of, this is about you. This is about the problem you need solved. Here's how we do it, and here's how we're different.
Yeah.
So you can protect the business as you close it. Now, again, if you can do a value add for anything you list out as a main item in your quality and service, or a boomerang fact, even better. Because now when it comes time to ask for the sale, the customer's thinking about quality and service. They're not thinking about price. They're thinking about everything they're getting for the price. So you're already going to start to take away a little bit of those price objections, because all I've done is said, well, Jody, you really wanted that brown sweater. You wanted the latest one available in the market. You wanted it to be under $99, and you wanted it delivered Thursday. Well, as you know, we partner with Amazon, so you get your delivery in 48 hours. So you're going to get that brown sweater on Wednesday. It's $79, right in your budget. It's the latest that just hit the market on Tuesday from that brand you love. Because we've had that, that's a silly quick example of what this looks like. Because we had all that dialogue that I found out was important to you, I'm not asking you for $79. I'm summarizing what you asked for, and I'm giving you the solution. It just happens to be $79. Okay? And I know there's a bunch of professional salespeople out there who have been doing this for years like I have, and they're going, okay, Mark, but not all the calls work that way. That's why I'm going to teach you how to overcome objections next week. But again, it's called attempting to overcome objections. You're not going to overcome them all. But again, I digress. If you've done all those steps and you do the first steps that I've talked about, it should be very much easier to close the sale, because if the customer would have got disqualified earlier in the process, you would have saved time and you could have moved on. Now, the third piece, and I'm like rambling here. Sorry, did you want to ask me something before I?
No, you're good.
I got to give a big shout out to an organization where I learned this. So I learned the quality, service, and price equals value from Richard Petty. Richard taught me that in elite training camp at Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment, and I shared the explanation a couple of these sessions ago about why MLSE bought TFC and how it fell into that value equation. At the printing house, Earl O'Bourne, the patriarch, the gentleman who started the company, he trained a lot of people on that same theory that Richard trained us on. So I heard it with MLSE first, but they had a really interesting way of positioning it as an organization, that they spun the triangle, okay? And what that means is, when you've got quality and service and price listed out, and the customer shows up really concerned about quality, well, guess where you want to start your conversation? You want to spin that triangle and you want to start talking about quality, because that's the most important to them. And then if you can show the other sides of the triangle that says, and here's what we do with service and the price is valuable, you can overcome those quality concerns and win the work. If the customer shows up and all they want to do is talk about price, and you know you can't give them the price they want, but you know the value equation is still great, you spin the triangle and you talk about quality and service and what they're getting for that price, and you don't have to lower the price. So that was a philosophy that really hit me, was like, hey, Richard was out there for me on quality, service, and price and learning the value equation, but looking how businesses adapt and spin that, is really interesting, and TPH had a great way of doing that. And so that's another way that you want to say, okay, now that I know all the quality service things of my client, I know all my quality service things, right? How do I position price? And how do I position in the context of what the client wants to hear? If Jody talks to me the entire time about, you know what, I've had real problems with brown sweaters. I've had the hardest luck with brown sweaters. I spend so much money on brown sweaters, and the thread always goes on brown sweaters, and I have no idea why. Or I always lose the color on the brown sweater. Well, guess what that sounds like? That is a quality conversation. And so I'm going to spin my conversation around quality to address it if I feel I can overcome that. Hey, Jody, I want to tell you why this brown sweater is better than any brown sweater. Let me tell you about our dyes, and let me tell you about our manufacturing process, and let me tell you about our quality record and return rate. And I'm going to sell Jody on her concern. What if I can't do that? What if I'm not so confident? I'm going to say, well, Jody, we do have a warranty policy. If you had any problem with your brown sweater, and those things do happen to brown sweaters, within a year we give you your money back or we replace the sweater. But here's the good news, is you don't have to wait. Our service value is that the minute you have that problem, there's a 1-800 number. We'll give you a pre-label. You put it in the mail. You'll get it back within 2 days. And so I may be able to slightly talk about quality, but I got to spin it around service if I still want to win that sale for that $79 of price. So that's how those two organizations taught me a lesson that I'm passing off to you.
Cool.
I got one more. We still got 12 minutes left. I raced through this. Do we have any comments from the comments section? We don't. Somebody asked me a question. No. We still got one left. So why don't I go through and then you can ask some questions. Let me give the last point to this one. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. So now you really shouldn't even have to ask for the sale, but you're gonna have to, right? At some point, we've got to ask the customer to open the wallet, sign the invoice, sign the contract, whatever that looks like. So how do you do that? Remember, we had all this conversation about inquiry. Well, now it's time to advocate. We just shared with them how we can solve their problems. We've got to ask for the money. So what I normally do in a B2B perspective, once I've gone through everything, and I've showed them what that service is going to cost, my next question is, do you want to move forward? My next question is, how would you like to structure payment for this service? If indeed, I've paraphrased what I can do, and they've, yep, I like that. I don't say this is $119.99 as software as a service a month. I will say, as I position it's $119 per month, that's a total for the month, for the year of, my God, 120, 1,200, another $1,440 for the year. We have a payment plan that if you pay up front instead of doing monthly, you get a 10% discount. So would you like to take advantage of that? And that's the way I position my ask on payment. I give them options on how to pay. I don't say, how do you feel about the number? Right. Because that objection is going to come up already when I'm positioning the quality and service for the price. I am going to say, and you're getting all of this for $119 a month. The customer is going to either say, oh my God, $119, I can't deal with that, or they're going to say nothing. And if they say nothing, then I'm going to position their payment options. The customer is still entitled to bring up an objection. Hey, Mark, I got to talk to you. Like, even at $1,400 minus 10%, that's $140 off. Now that's $1,260. Make my quick math good. That's $1,260. It's still out of my budget. And then you're going to go into the next step, which is overcoming the objection. And I don't want to go too much into next week, but overcoming the objection is, again, the art of inquiry versus advocacy. Oh, so if I hear you right, you'll have everything about our offer. You're just a little stuck with the price in your budget. Am I hearing that correctly? And the customer's going to say, yeah, like I love everything in there. So you're telling me if we could manage this price thing, you'd move forward. Am I hearing you right? Yeah, great. And now you're empowered to either try and reposition the value for the price, or if you control your margins or your boss gives you leeway on empowerment of how much you can discount, now you can overcome the objection. But that's getting into next week. But usually I just position what it's going to cost and I give them options on payment if you have that leeway. If you're in B2C and you're doing retail and you've just done all the quality service and you did all the connection and research and you found out that they're a high-level basketball athlete and you sold them the best basketball shoe and the coolest dry fit. Is dry fit even a thing anymore for Nike? I think dry fit.
I think it is.
I'm aging my Champ Sports Day.
It's not new anymore.
Well, yeah, or Cool Max from Reebok. Now I'm really going back. But you sell them and you upsell everything based on those needs. That transaction looks like, okay, We've got the shoes that you asked for. We've got your dry fit for practice. We got you 2 shorts, 2 shirts. We got you in North Carolina, your favorite team. Love that Nike does the license stuff for North Carolina. And so that whole total is going to come up to $919. How would you like to pay today? Let's go to the cash.
No questions asked.
No questions asked. Now the customer will say, if they say, I don't know, then I'll say, hold on. No, what's bothering you? What's holding you back from moving off to the payment? What questions do you still have? And I'm going to try and overcome the objection. But I certainly don't say, would you like to pay now? Or would you like to give me $900? Again, the option, how would you like to pay for this today? And this will become, see, the reason sales professionals get stuck closing is this friggin' 1980s version of always be closing and never take no for an the never take no for an answer drives me friggin' nuts. People are allowed to tell you no, and there may be legitimate reasons. So as you go through this process, you're getting the no's out of the way before you ever get to closing.
Every no gets you closer to a yes.
Oh boy.
Heard that somewhere.
You are correct. You are, and I'm not just saying that because I'll be in trouble if I don't agree with you. But yeah, every no does get you closer. But every no may get you to that exit ramp.
Yeah.
Like, I can't afford Air Jordans, but I want a good basketball shoe. Okay, well, what does your budget look like? I'm not going to sell you a 200. I keep saying Air Jordans. Like, I don't even know that they're 219. I think they were 169 when I sold them. That's how old I am. But that's a no. Then I'm either going to steer to another product or I'm going to get you off the exit ramp. Like if you say, like this is me going way back. Okay, at Champ Sports, we used to have clients who would come in and they'd want like the greatest cross trainer, but the financial reality was they had $29. And that looked like a Brooks cross trainer at the time. They were our entry brand. Now they'd look at the shoe wall at the greatest Nike cross trainer for $139, but through that dialogue we'd get down to the fact that they had $29. But they didn't want the Brooks shoe.
Right. Or
we didn't have their size. There's nothing else that can sell them. I've got to get them off the exit ramp. Now, I'm going to do that professionally so they may come back when their budget change. Hey, you know what? There's a Payless Shoe Source in the mall. They've got 6 Brooks versions at $29. You might be able to find the color and size you want there. That's all going to come up in following these steps. When you get to this 4th step of asking for the sale, it should be an easy close. You're going to have to deal with 1 or 2 objections. I'll show you how those next week. But you should not feel bad about saying, how would you like to pay?
If you've gotten to this
stage...
Hey,
Rennie! Rennie's here!
Hi, Rennie.
Rennie!
If you've gotten to this stage where you're presenting your proposal,
yeah.
Do you ever have it happen where the person says, okay, I need to think about it, or I need to go talk to someone else about it in the organization?
Yeah, and I say, you're not fucking thinking about it, you're buying it right now. Yes, approvals. That is one of the objections that you come. And again, not to get everyone to hang on for next week, but I am going to teach people how to deal with that objection because it does come up. And what people sometimes will do is it's an excuse. No, it's not an excuse. It may be they're telling you that because you haven't been able to close the value equation for them, and they're using that excuse, but the reality is they're not prepared to close, and so you're going to investigate and find out why. Mm-hmm. So again, into next week, I'd say, well, if I'm hearing you right, everything you like, there's nothing holding you back other than you need this approval. Is that correct? Yeah. So if you get the approval, you're going to move forward? Yeah, okay, great. How do I help you with that approval? Mm-hmm. Do you want me to have a meeting with the person that you've got to get approval from? Should I send them an email? And then they may say, no, leave it with me.
But if it's not approval, what if they're the decision maker, but they just say, I need to think about it?
Okay.
Is it like, what do you need to think about?
Yeah, of course.
What's on your mind?
How can I help you with that decision? What's holding you back? Be very transparent. What is it that you need to think about? Maybe I can help you with that decision today. Mm-hmm. Now, next week we're going to do a little exercise. You don't know about this, but I do it in all my training. I call it Stump the Chump. And I go into any industry that I'm training, and I've trained this sales training in B2B, B2C, because the behaviors apply everywhere. I've trained it to logistics companies. I've changed it to retail companies. I've trained it to cleaning services companies. I've trained it to real estate brokerages. You name it, because those behaviors apply everywhere. And I do this exercise. And I go in completely blind. I know nothing about it. And I say to the people in the room, give me your best objection. Give me the one you get all the time. And let's see if I can overcome it. Now, the point isn't that I'll overcome it every time, is that I lay out the 4 best behaviors to overcome it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the customer just doesn't have the money. Yeah. Or sometimes your product's inferior and you need some product development. You can't overcome those objections, but you need to attempt to.
But if you've gotten this far down the process line,
Yes.
you should know whether they can afford what you're selling them or not.
Nah, maybe.
No? Like they'll surprise you at this point and say, actually, no, I can't
Well,
do that price point?
No, they may say, like you may share, like, and the budget around this area is X. And they may say, yeah, they want to hear more because what they're really validating is your value equation.
Mm-hmm.
So their budget may be $100, but they're willing to go to 120.
Mm-hmm.
And what you've done for the 120 that you've positioned is you haven't determined enough value where it's worth the risk for them to pay more. So
right. Like the only reason I think someone would say, I got to think about it and get back to you is because they're maybe pushing themselves out of like their comfort zone when it comes to price.
Yep.
And they're trying to align the value, the quality and service with whether they can push outside that price comfort zone. And to me, I know if this happens to me, I don't want to have to make that decision really quickly with someone sitting in front of me.
That is one thing, right? That's one assumption you can make. It's a budget thing. It's like, oh, am I going to get what I want? There's a million other things that go on with this. Millions, an exaggeration. There's a bunch of other things that go on with decision makers. Let's say I've dealt with this in my business. I've proposed a contract for a client, knowing very well that the person I'm competing against has a history with the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm happy for the opportunity. I might not win it, but here's an opportunity for me to present what I do. Now, behind the scenes, that individual may be dealing with a professional and personal struggle of saying, I don't know you. You sound good, Mark. Like I think, but I got proof with this person, and there's a relationship there. So even though I'm tempted, I'm going to go over there, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing immoral with that. That's a decision maker that every decision maker is entitled to make, and that's what they're stuck with. There's so many. It could be, oh my God, I'm going to go to my boss. And I know we got to get rid of that provider, but my boss is buddies with them, and I don't know how that's going to go. Those things happen every day.
Yeah.
They happen every day. And so all you can do is try and get in front of them, find out what's there, and deliver your best shot. Try and overcome the objection and deliver your best shot. And remember, if you're selling, you said this so well, every no gets you closer to a yes, right? Because every time I lose a proposal, all I've done is built a relationship with someone who hasn't heard what I've done before, and I haven't heard what they've done. And we're that much closer. Now, I hope the provider they pick delivers what they need. And maybe down the road, my offerings change and there's something that they don't have and they'll come back. Or maybe the person they picked didn't do a bang-up job and they'll come back to me. I have nothing to lose of going through this process and building a relationship.
So if I could summarize kind of your points from today around actually closing the sale and acquiring a new client, it's really all in around how you position that messaging to them or that offer to them. So instead of saying, okay, so are we good? Do you want to move ahead? Right? You would say,
how would you like to move ahead?
How would you like to move ahead?
Like
when would you like to proceed on signing? Right? How would you like?
I wouldn't say when. When that opens it up a little too much.
Yeah.
I just say, how would you like to pay? Mm-hmm. Would you like to hear about our payment options? Or sorry, how can I demonstrate our payment options so we can move forward? Anything you make too open-ended.
Are you ready to proceed on payment?
No. How would you like to pay? I wouldn't even ask, are you ready to proceed on payment? Because we've already done all that.
Say, I'm not ready, actually.
Right. They'll say that.
Yeah.
The customer will say that. If they know they're not ready to pay, they'll say, Mark, I got a problem. I can't pay the $79,000 you're quoting for me for this project. I just can't. Okay, well, if I'm hearing you right, and then we go into step number 5, which I'm going to train next week. So give them options, but make it time-bound and action-driven right there and on the spot. And you will get, hey, Mark, it's above my pay grade, so I now need to take this proposal to our VP. Hey, that's cool. When should I follow up with you to see what the response was?
What about urgency? Like, do you think that creating...
Urgent.
Oh my gosh.
Gonna
do you
make
think
it,
that creating is... I don't even know that song.
It's urgency, but it's urgent by Foreigner. Gotta make it urgent.
Do you think that creating a sense of urgency for one part of the value equation can work to your advantage? Like, this price is only available for so long, or that kind of stuff?
Devalues your brand.
You don't like that?
I mean, again, if you have a promotion, tell people about it. Like if you've made a strategic pricing decision, but that's a slippery slope if that's your pitch. If you're not selling on value, guess what that customer is always going to expect?
A discount.
A discount. And it's either you have to every time because you don't deliver enough value and that's how you win the work. Remember, the value equation has price in it, right? It's one of the three factors. So if your quality and service isn't as good as your competitor and the only way you're going to win is on price, well, your margins better permit it because companies win work on price, but you're only getting so much value in return,
right.
So much quality and service. But if you're delivering quality and service than everybody else, don't reduce your price to win the work. Now, what I would do is say, okay, well, how do I make this a little risk-free for you? Like if what you're concerned about is I've put a $100,000 invoice in front of you for a yearly project, I get what your concern is. Is it the 100,000 or is it knowing what you're getting for the 100? Well, I've never used you before and this is a new thing. Okay, well, how about we time the payment system where we each have an out? Why don't we go in quarterly payments and I'll give you an exit clause? I'm not doing any more work for you. You're not getting anything more out of me, and your commitment is only 1 quarter.
What about
and structure your pricing advantage that way? I'm a big believer in guarantees.
Mm-hmm.
It depends.
Like 30 days or your money back?
Yeah, most retailers do that. B2B is a little different because you're either selling software or an intellectual property. I don't see very many of them giving guarantees out. Like I don't give guarantees with my corporate training because there's 2 factors. There's my behaviors and the team executing. I can inform your team to execute.
Yeah, you can't say you get a money back guarantee if they haven't executed what you trained them on.
My online training, there's only one factor. It's me putting that course up and you getting value out of it in that 5-hour session where I'm willing to say, it's already up there, I've built the training. If it didn't work for you, I'll give you. But when I go into an organization, I train for 70 hours. No money back guarantee. Fuck, this stuff works. You got to execute. I'm going to help you do it. I'm going to help you execute.
Yeah, but you got to do the work.
But you're paying for my 70 hours.
Yeah.
And you're paying for my 25 years of experience in building this stuff. That's what you're paying for. In the online world, I've built the training once and I'm sitting at home. So it's a fair give and take for me to say, if that didn't work for you, let me know. I'll give you your $79 back or your $120 back. So it really depends by industry.
Yeah.
And I would tell you where you can take the risk, by all means, there's one more tool in your toolbox. I can take the risk online of refunding a sale. I can't take the risk of returning $30,000 to a corporate client when I've trained 20 people and made them all better at sales, and they increased their sales by $3 million, but they wanted 4. So give us our are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Right? And so you've really got to manage your threshold and what you can do by industry.
Makes sense.
Boy, that made me sound not flexible at all. But I'm a big believer in this.
Pretty flexible.
But I'm a big believer in this value equation. You get what you pay for with me.
Totally.
And the proof is in the pudding.
On
That's what
that
they
note,
say. The proof is in the pudding.
next Thursday, we're going to go to
Jeudi prochain pour tous mes amis francophones sur ce podcast. Mais c'est même pas un podcast, c'est un live.
Un live.
Un live. C'est un live. C'est un Facebook live. Il n'y a même pas du monde français sur ce Facebook live. Mais s'il y en aurait, il dirait, hey, parle français, ce gars-là.
Mark speaks a lot of franglais. Okay, yes. Next Thursday, we're going to talk about overcoming objections or attempting to overcome objections, which you might get in this 4th phase. And we're going to play a little Stump the Chump.
Yeah, we'll play some Stump the Chump. And can I just, last thing, and I know it's 12:35. We started a couple minutes late. I think it's really important that we touch on the fact of why I call it attempting to overcome objections. And this is for all the sales leaders on this call or that see this replayed. And this is for all you people out there selling online sales coaching and promising 30x results. Okay? Because it's a pet peeve with me. I can tell a lot of you have never been on the phone. I can tell a lot of you have never been in front of a customer. It's called attempting to overcome objections because we will make sure everybody is empowered to not walk away when someone says no. And find out why they're saying no and try and solve that problem. But we will not educate people that never take no for an answer. Because the customer experience counts for something too. Do you want that one transaction and never have another one and everyone talk badly about them because you sold them crap they don't need? That is not what we're going to do in step number 5. And shame on you if you train your people that way today. Shame! Shame!
Boy.
Give your team the behaviors they need, measure it, trust them, set them up for success. They all want to do well. You incent them on them doing well. You think they don't want a paycheck? Be realistic. I'm done. Soapbox over. Rant done.
We're also going to do actually next week. We're going to do a second live too on Wednesday. At lunchtime, we're going to do a little workshop over the lunch hour.
A Bitsy workshop.
With my friend Mia, who's a mindfulness coach, and we're going to talk about mindfulness in the workplace, how you can incorporate it into your work to reduce stress, create calm, all of those kinds of things. So she's going to join us on Wednesday. I'm going to send out that invite today, but that's going to be a cool one too.
I can't wait. I mean, mindfulness has been a new concept to me and has absolutely saved me in the last 6 months. 110%. Really helped me manage anxiety.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about what it is, how it's actually a neurological thing, how you can implement it in your life, your work, and what difference it's going to make. So that'll be on Wednesday.
I'm an expert in neurological things.
I actually have a biology degree, so.
I have 3/4 of a political science degree. And liver damage. Liver damage.
All right. Okay, we'll see you next week.
Cheers, everybody.
Bye.